Yes, finally, I'm going to be able to do this review that I've been meaning to do for days now, and by the time most of you see this, it'll be well over a week. It'll definitely be over a week, because it was last Saturday, and most of you probably won't see this till Sunday. So yeah, it'll be over a week since this, the iPay-per-view, for 9th anniversary show was up and going, so, yeah, so this is a little delayed. But before we get there, I do want to plug somebody, because apparently, if you plug people on here, you're a saint and can do no wrong. So, I'm going to plug somebody. That probably the people that are going to watch this video probably already subscribed to, probably already know all this stuff, but I figured I would just do it anyways, because, yeah, just because I felt like it. Dave Lagana, who does all the production work and TV and did the TV stuff for Ring of Honor. He has a website, I Want Wrestling, and you may have seen his Twitter. He has an I Want Wrestling Twitter as well, and people have been using the hashtag I Want Wrestling on Twitter for a while now. But he has his own website now where he puts up podcasts, and you can hear the podcasts on iTunes and the whole bit. Where he's got one set of podcasts, which are all former WWE creative guys talking about their experiences, talking about different things. It's pretty interesting. You get a pretty good idea of where guys are coming from, kind of what their jobs were, kind of what they thought of things that were going on, the fact that the job is not all it's cracked up to be, and that probably no one in their right mind would actually probably want to work the job. So there's that. He's also started a YouTube channel, which not a lot of people are subscribed to, I've noticed, considering, where he puts up little clips from the podcasts, also some other stuff. He's got kind of his trip for the 9th anniversary show as well, a little video of that as well. So there's all of that. He's got I guess it's kind of a contest going as well right now, where you can, if you go to his the Facebook page and you like the Facebook page and then explain why you should be on this thing, it's called 15 minutes, and basically he gives 3 guys 15 minutes to go out there and talk wrestling, and then everyone votes for it, and then the guy who gets the most votes gets to come back the next week and talk wrestling again. So that's pretty interesting. All you have to do is go to the Facebook page and like it. I've listed the YouTube page, the iwantwrestling.com, the Facebook page, and both of his Twitter accounts. Excuse me. In the description box. So you guys can check that out. I definitely recommend checking it out. It's pretty good stuff, and I always enjoy whenever he does an interview and whatnot. It's pretty interesting to hear him talk about stuff. But he does have, like I said, I should explain what else is on the channel, or on his webpage, out of the podcasts. There's the creative stuff. He's got one that's interviews with like wrestling journalists or journalists that follow wrestling. There's an ESPN guy that I'm not sure who the guy is, to be honest. Then Dave Shear is on there as well. They got from Pro Wrestling Insider and the other guy from Pro Wrestling Insider. They do pretty interesting review, or pretty interesting interview, though it's kind of odd at the same time with kind of the omissions. And then they have Brian Alvarez. He's got one with Brian Alvarez on there as well. So, and then the 15 minutes, which he has the first 15 minutes up there as well. So it's worth checking out. I just kind of wanted to give a shout out to it, because I don't know how many of you have probably seen it. And probably the people that will see this video are the ones that would probably really enjoy kind of checking that out. So, 9th anniversary show. Let's talk about this show. As everybody and their brother said, there wasn't a lot of momentum, it felt, going into the show. And it's kind of odd, because the live crowd, there were about 1,400 people there for the live crowd. And which originally it was reported as either the biggest crowd and I think originally it was the biggest crowd ever in Chicago, which that wasn't the truth, because if that was the truth, I believe it would have been the biggest crowd Ring of Honor had ever had in North America. then it was reported that it was one of the biggest crowds, and then we found out it was 1,400 people were there. That's pretty good for a Ring of Honor show, even at iPay-per-view, I would say. And as far as the buy rates, or the people that bought it, right off the bat, it was 1,400 or 1,500 people. It's been reported. Dave Meltzer's where I got the number from. I'm sure it's been reported all over the place, but as well. So that's pretty good, because I think everyone probably figured it would be about 1,000, maybe even less. There was just a lot of kind of doom and gloom about this show, which is pretty interesting, because you would think there wouldn't be that many people watching this show. So I would say that's pretty successful from there. As far as the show itself, I'd say it was very good. As far as the wrestling, I think if you're a Ring of Honor fan, you probably really enjoyed it. If you're not much of a Ring of Honor fan, and you're just there looking for, good wrestling, it might have kind of under-delivered for you, because there wasn't that one great match. There was a lot of really good and good matches, but there was nothing like great, outstanding, something you had to see. I wouldn't even say there was one great match on there, but there's a lot of really good stuff. There's a lot of fun stuff. I wouldn't say the show exceeded my expectations, because I had a feeling this could be a really good to great show myself. So I think it was pretty much there. My only real complaint with the show is there wasn't a big, there was an announcement for WrestleMania weekend, which will be the next iPay-per-view shows. For those of you who don't know, they're going to do a double, the two WrestleMania weekend shows, which if you don't know what the WrestleMania weekend shows are, Ring of Honor for 1, 2, 3, I think the last 5 years now, has always ran shows WrestleMania weekend, straight. They did one before, and then they didn't do the next year, because that's when WrestleMania was in LA, I think, and then they did one in Chicago, and yes, I think this is the 5th one in a row they've done. And it's always been a pretty big success. The shows, generally, even last year, which weren't as star-studded as years before, or some of the best shows Ring of Honor does every year. They really put a lot into these shows, and they did announce that they were going to both be iPay-per-views on the iPay-per-view, which was already well known, and that one of the big matches for the weekend will be the winner was going to be the winner of the Briscoes versus the World's Greatest Tag Team. We're going to take on whoever won between the Kings of Wrestling and the All Night Express. Here, Kings of Wrestling won, and World's Greatest Tag Team won, so that's going to be one of the main events, or one of the big matches we're going to have for. And that was really the only really big announcement. That's kind of lackluster, in my opinion. I thought we might get at least something a little bit more. I'm sure we'll get a few more. I do find it a little odd that we've seen more hype from Ring of Honor for the next Manhattan show, which will be Manhattan Mayhem 4. I think it's 4. Show. I find that a little odd, but what are you going to do? But overall, I thought the show was good. I really did. I think it was really good. There was only 2 things on the show that I thought were kind of subpar, but we'll get into that. They started the match off with Davey Richards and Colt Cabana. It's a pretty good opener. These guys are not, they have 2 very different styles, but the 2 styles do kind of come together. They just went out there, did a pretty basic opener, which was really good. The crowd was into it. Davey Richards got to do his stuff. Colt Cabana got to do his stuff. It all worked. It was a lot of fun. And it just came off very well. It was a good match to start the show, I felt. Then we had the 4-way, which was Mike Bennett, Steve Corino, who was very good in this match, I thought. It was very entertaining, I should say. Kyle O'Reilly, who I think was kind of the breakout star of this match, and then Grizzly Redwood. This was good. I thought that all the guys kind of did what they needed to do. Mike Bennett looked like, played the cocky heel. Steve Corino, who his gimmick now is, he's looking for redemption because he feels like he's the reason why Kevin Steen is, gone from ROH, which kind of leads to, Kevin Steen eventually will be back, which I think will be good. Kyle O'Reilly was kind of just the spunky underdog heel, and Grizzly Redwood was the, the midget lumberjack. This is basically what he did. But overall, the match was, I thought, really good. They teased the Corino dive that we didn't see, which is always kind of fun to see. A lot of good stuff. Really enjoyed it. And there we go. Then we got El Generico versus Michael Elgin. Michael Elgin was another guy that really got a kind of stood out, kind of got seen a little bit better here. He's part of the House of Truth. This, when I did my preview, I talked about the fact that I thought this would kind of be the leaf-off show where we would start to get a lot of the storylines for the beginning of the year. And, you kind of got the feeling that by the end of this match that we're going to see kind of El Generico take on the House of Truth and probably eventually take on Roderick Strong at some point. So there was that. This was another really good match. I really liked this. I had a lot of fun watching this match. Roderick Strong came out to help House of Truth. He called out Homicide, so we had the title match before the intermission, which was good because this match did not deliver even with the no holds, the no DQ stipulation. This didn't make the match necessarily better. If this made the match better, then oh my god. Not a title-worthy match. They made the right decision putting it here on the card. At some point, Roderick Strong's going to have to get in the ring with other people who can help him put on really great matches, because that's the only way that people are going to overlook him having the belt and not like him having the belt, is at least put him in there with people who he's going to have great matches with. So eventually, people are like, okay, he's going to lose, he's going to lose, he's going to lose. Homicide wasn't the right guy. And in Atlanta, I know one night he's taking on Christopher Daniels. So, I don't expect necessarily a great match of that. It could be great, but and we'll get to Christopher Daniels here in a minute. But I'm not looking too forward to it. Then we had the intermission, and that's when they announced the Atlanta shows. They also announced, which I'll be at, and also the tag title situation. Came back, we got Sara Del Rey versus MsChif, which I was looking forward to, except they gave this no time. Sara pretty much just squashed MsChif and then spit on MsChif afterwards, and then MsChif, spit back, except when she spits back, it's pretty missed, and they sold it pretty well. It was kind of weird. But they gave this no time, unfortunately. I wish they would give the women time. They have women here who could just go out there and really wrestle, and I think people are ready to see women really go out there and wrestle and be athletic and the whole thing. And unfortunately, we can't get anybody except for the actually women's promotions to do that, and that's kind of sad. Then we got Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli taking on Kenny King and Rhett Titus. My only real problem with this match, and maybe I'm underrating a little bit, is the crowd at no point believed that Kenny King and Rhett Titus were going to win. And that kind of hurt the match for me, even though Kenny King hit an awesome shooting star press. But we got lots of, you got the Kings. The Kings were playing, the bumbling kind of heels, and King and Titus were more playing the faces. And so yeah, it was really good, but it wasn't great. So there was that. Then we got Christopher Daniels versus Eddie Edwards. They went to a draw, which I said they would. This was good. It was kind of slow. That was my only real problem with it. The wrestling was really good though. The crowd really wasn't into it. I don't know if it was because they wanted to cheer for both guys or what the deal was, but it was kind of slower paced. We didn't get the first fall until, about well over 20 minutes into the match. And then Eddie Edwards got the second fall. And so, just as time was getting ready to expire, Christopher Daniels took a bad bump to the head and cut himself open, rolled out, hit his head on the guardrail. It wasn't nice at all. Apparently, the way it was supposed to end was there was supposed to be a time limit draw, and then they're supposed to ask for 5 more minutes, and Christopher Daniels would say, no, I'm not going to give you 5 more minutes. But instead, Christopher Daniels was knocked loopy, his head was all cut open, and so they just said that Christopher Daniels couldn't continue, so you're not getting your 5 more minutes. So it still kind of worked out the same way, but it was kind of just, wow. I thought it was a very, very good match. And then we had Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin versus Mark and Jay Briscoe. This was a lot of fun. Again, kind of the same thing with Christopher Daniels and Eddie Edwards. You had you had two teams that I think both teams they wanted to cheer, but they really couldn't. But it was still, you know, Haas and Benjamin have been kind of, they haven't been doing like ROH style. It's still kind of like a ROH style kind of blended with WWE style as far as playing to the crowd, and they'll slow it down and that sort of thing. But we still got a lot of cool moves. We got, you know, all the guys kind of doing their thing. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. You know, I'm a Briscoe mark, so I really liked it. I thought it was a really, really good match. So there was that. Like I said, it wasn't a great show. If this is Ring of Honor kind of doing a show where they're like, we're not, I don't want to say a throwaway show, but it's kind of a throwaway show, then this isn't bad. I think a good pay-per-view isn't a bad thing to put on. You just can't put on a lot of them. They can't be the norm. They have to be the exception to the rule. And the great pay-per-views, there has to be more great than good. But I think Ring of Honor can do away with doing a good pay-per-view, but they just can't put on a lot of them. Maybe 2 a year. And of course, this all leads to the WrestleMania weekend shows, which that'll be interesting. It'll be I believe, if I remember right, you can order both shows for $20. So that's a pretty good deal. It's a discounted rate, but the shows are usually 15. Well, usually when they do discounts, they're usually about $12. So you're even getting a better discount than what the normal discount that they usually do is. So that's a good deal. $20, 2 shows. You got the first show will be Friday night before WrestleMania. The second show will be Saturday afternoon after WrestleMania. Or before WrestleMania. Saturday before WrestleMania. And you know, this will be my 3rd year seeing these shows, and the first year was here in Houston. I love those shows. Last year's no one was really looking forward to those shows because the star power, quote unquote, was not there yet. They turned out being really good last year, especially the Saturday show, which a lot of people weren't looking forward to that main event, and then Ring of Honor kind of tweaked the main event a little bit, gave us an angle which really worked live. I can't remember how it came off looking at it. I just remember looking at it live and remember that, and just it came off. It was one of the coolest things I ever saw live, to be honest. Just from the aspect of it really worked, and it really kind of shocked people, and it really kind of worked in that sense, even though people kind of knew what was going on as the whole thing was going on. But anyways, but yeah, I guess that's it. If you haven't seen 9th anniversary show, which I'm sure most of you probably have, I would definitely recommend checking it out if you're a Ring of Honor fan. If you're not a Ring of Honor fan, it is a bit skippable. It's mainly storyline stuff, I would say, it looks like. But definitely check out Dave Lagana's stuff. I think a lot of you would enjoy it, particularly the people that are going to watch this video will probably really enjoy it. So, with that, I'm out. I have rambled on long enough, so everybody have a good one. Later.